is Joy News Prime.
Welcome to Joy News Prime here on Joy News on Multi TV. Still the most comprehensive 2 hours of television news in Ghana. My name is Israelite. Coming up, residents of AFOKO once again hit the streets of the town to protest the continuing presence of marauding herdsmen they accuse of causing destruction to life and property. Accra High Court gives the all-clear for the extradition of British fugitive David McDERMOTT to the UK to face trial on narcotic-related charges. Residents of northern region town of Nkrugu drive out executives of ruling NDC on an outreach program over failed promises made in 2012.
And in business, government commences negotiations with organized labor and private employers over the 2017 minimum wage and base pay for workers.
And highly anticipated showdown between controversial evangelist Daniel Obinim and popular Kumasi fetish priest ends in anticlimax. We'll tell you why. Also coming up is sports, entertainment, and Joy News Interactive. This bulletin is available across Europe via London-based ABN television. Do stay tuned. Lawyers for British drug baron David McDERMOTT have 15 days to stop his extradition to the United Kingdom to face drug-related charges. This comes after an Accra High Court on Tuesday gave the all-clear for his transfer to the UK, having been convinced that there are sufficient grounds for his extradition. Joy News' Raymond Akwa was in court and filed this report.
David McDERMOTT has been on the run for the past 3 years from the UK authorities, but was picked up in Accra on March 11, 2016. According to the prosecution, McDERMOTT is believed to be a key figure who is part of a conspiracy to supply a large quantity of cocaine to the United Kingdom, for which his extradition was being sought by the UK government. Counsel for McDERMOTT, Victor Adawudu, in opposing the extradition request, argued that Ghana and the UK did not have an extradition agreement and that the state had breached the extradition procedures with impunity. But the judge, Mele Fuawood, held a different view. According to her, Ghana has an extradition treaty with the UK and that the crime is not political. She also dismissed arguments that narcotic-related issues are not extradition offenses. The judge then remanded him in prison custody for 15 days till his extradition warrant is issued. After the judgment, lawyer for McDERMOTT, Victor Kojoga Adawudu, said they are not ruling out a fresh application to contest the ruling.
Due process is part of the law. So I would definitely speak to my client. I'll have conference with him and we'll see the way forward. The good thing is also that we have 15 days, as the court itself said, after committing, you cannot be repatriated or extradited until 15 days expires. So we would see what I will advise him and what is his wish. And when I get a firm instruction, I would see the way forward.
Looking at the kind of fight you put up previously, are you likely to advise that your client actually apply for habeas corpus?
It is a right that is open to us. And if we are convinced after talking to him and know the chances and everything, if he's convinced and we are convinced in our argument that we want, I believe we may exercise that right. It's a right that has been given to us. It's either you exercise it or you leave it.
Is he disappointed?
No. My client is never disappointed. I think he has appreciated what we have done so far. The force of argument and the procedure, how we have gone about the issue, he's satisfied, he's happy, and I think that he thinks that at least he has proved his innocence, that he has never been engaged in narcotic in Ghana, as people will want the world to believe.
And Accra High Court has adjourned the case in which Paul AFOKO is fighting his suspension as national chairman of the New Patriotic Party. Mr. AFOKO is challenging suspension by the party's neck, arguing it is illegal. The judge presiding over the case, Anthony Yeboah, is however warning further delay in the process could infringe on Mr. AFOKO's rights. Kwacha Frenuama was in court and has come through with this report.
The court was today expected to begin the pre-trial hearing. This involves setting out the issues for the trial, like which witness statements would be used. But that could not happen. That's because lawyer for the MPP, Godfrey Dame, said they had not received all the necessary documents needed for the case to proceed. The presiding judge, Anthony Yeboah, at this point indicated that the case could proceed anyway. However, lawyers for the MPP insisted the right processes needed to be followed. The presiding judge then explained that there is a need for an expeditious trial, as further delay in the process could infringe on the rights of Mr. Paul AFOKO. In the opinion of Justice Anthony Yeboah, this is also crucial because the suspended chairman's tenure is limited and his suspension indefinite. The court also took a firm position on public commentary regarding the trial. The judge maintained that he would not gag anyone from expressing their opinion on the ongoing processes once this is done within the confines of the law. After court proceedings, a spokesperson for Mr. AFOKO, Nanaya Osei, described the court's stance as a vindication of the suspended chairman's earlier stance.
This was said in court, vindicating Mr. AFOKO's position that so long as he doesn't comment on the merits of the matter before the court in the media, nobody can stop him from responding to allegations against him and which are not before the court for determination. For us, that point was very, very instructive. So Mr. AFOKO would continue to express his views in response to some frivolous allegations that have been leveled against him when he gets the opportunity. But he is very much aware and he knows the issues before the court. And so, as a law-abiding citizen, he will not veer into the matter that is before the court. He will stay clear of the matter that is before the court and allow the court to do its work.
The case has been adjourned to April 13.
Also, residents of Agogo in the Ashanti region on Tuesday embarked on a demonstration to pressure government to drive out nomadic herdsmen in their area who have been accused of burning farms, murdering indigents and raping women. The residents of the town, including religious and traditional leaders who hit the streets, were clad in black and red clothes and held placards with messages critical of government and the nomadic herdsmen. Tuesday's protest is about the second by the residents of the presence of the herdsmen this year. The youth in the town have blamed government for the continuing presence of the nomadic herdsmen in the town, despite a 2012 court order that they be driven out. The nomads have been accused of perpetrating crimes, including murder and rape, besides the destruction of farm crops by their grazing cattle. Residents of Agogo and surrounding communities have for years raised concerns about the activities of the herdsmen, believed to be mostly Fulanis. The MP for the area, Kojo Ban Ajamang, has been speaking to correspondent Erastus Osario-Donko.
They are absolutely right. The government brought about 30 security men here, and a security situation like this, you come and deploy 30 people here with one pickup. How are they going to function? And the cattle are scattered all around the area. I was thinking that they could deploy massive people, armed people, and if they are really proactive, they should come and sack them. But they didn't do it. So it presupposes that they are not proactive, they are unconcerned, they are insensitive to our plight. And if a government is acting in this way, it tells you whom we have invested our future into their hands. Maybe we presume that the president haven't heard of our situation. So after this demonstration, we will try and arrange a meeting with the president to let him know that if he's not hearing, if he's not getting the right report, there is what is happening in Agogo. And if after our meeting with him, he has still not been proactive, we need to come back to our farms and start planting. So any means that we will embark on to flush the cattle ourselves, we will do it and get access to our farms.
Reacting to the protest earlier on today's big story, the Ashanti Regional Minister said they are working towards resolving the situation, but added that there are new developments.
Taking the law into your own house will not solve the problem. Losing confidence in the state agencies will not be the solution. We should fashion how to do it, and that's why the RECSEC is going to sit immediately and take information from DISEC and act. We need to act in consonance with the Eastern Region RECSEC because we relate, and when you move, they go there. They can also come back. So when you think you are free, you wait on, and in some time they also come back. So we need to collectively work towards that direction. You know what? I would love us to be interested in the issue at stake, not in the buyer. The important thing is that, do you have an invasion of cattle in the area? There was. Did we do anything? Yes, we did. We almost were getting to the tail end. But there's a new development, and the development is coming from along the eastern region, through Drobonso, which is also part of Ashanti region, and the new things are coming inside. I heard Kuduba, my friend, talking about that the one pickup is not enough. By the way we are working, we thought we've done very well, except the fact that this new development has come. DISEC have written to us a report that they have realized new cattle coming in from where we have done a very good job. So it implies that, yes, even has an idea as to the way we should approach it. So his view, as far as I'm concerned, that he thinks the one vehicle is inadequate. It is important to share that position with the RECSEC. We are meeting about tomorrow or Friday, and they will fashion out from the new development the reports we have received so that we don't lose focus on what we are doing. But purposefully, what it means is that we have to make sure we flash out to ensure that there's peace around the area. That's what we are looking at. Now, if you want to let the court order specifically spoke about areas where we should not allow stray cattle and to allow those who have caged them to be there. But we realize that combining nomadics with the regulars creates its own problems. So it is a total discussion and then flashing out of all. And to that extent, there has been some massive movement. Just that we are experiencing new incursions, and we think that these are the emerging issues we should address, and we are going to have to address that. So that one is being applied. The court spoke about specific areas and communities we should work on, but if we work on what happens to other communities, and definitely the cattle can also move from communities into new communities, and even for those who are.
Well, security analyst Dr. Franklin Baine thinks Ghana must learn from the Nigeria experience on how to deal with the issue.
We're very glad to take this matter a little bit for us, Ghanaians, to learn a lesson from our brothers and sisters in Nigeria who have a similar experience in assessing the recent conflict of the Ghanaian migrant Fulani herdsmen and native farmers here. It has a relationship with that of what happened in Nigeria, and it is this. The Nigerian Fulani farmer, for example, conflict are a prime example of religious divide, aggravating the land tension there. And you know, Ghana and Nigeria have similarities. Now, Islamic and Christian extremists have been blamed for the conflict in the plateau states of Nigeria. Small disputes over here and there were cattle escalated into full massacre. And when you compare and look at Ghana's one, it is gradually escalated because of what? Strong religious divide in the central Nigeria, for example. Now, democratization in Nigeria, for example, is said to be one of the causes of radical education with Islam and Christianity. What are we seeing here today? Now, in the case of here, we can see that today's demonstration, you realize that everybody involved, and I pity and I really share the sympathy with them of what is going on. And now, everywhere, including the religious bodies are all involved in the demonstration.
Watching Joy News Prime, the Roads and Highways Minister, Inusuf Hussaini, says the reasons accounting for the overpayment in unearned salaries in his ministry are due to delays in deleting names from the payroll system at the Controller and Accountant General's Department. The sector minister, who took his turn at the Public Accounts Committee sitting, made this known after the committee raised concerns over the recurrence of thousands of unearned salaries paid to some staff. This was contained in the 2012-2013 Auditor General's report of the Roads and Highways Ministry.
According to the 2012 and 2013 Auditor's report, agencies under the ministry have been paid unearned salaries. Unearned salaries amounting to 9,334.53 cedis was paid between May 2009 to May 2012 to 6 staff of the Department of Feeder Roads in Takoradi in the Western Region. The ministry is expected to retrieve outstanding 7,920.53 cedis from the staff. 16 staff of the Ghana Highway offices in Ho in the Volta region were paid over 13,000 cedis classified under unearned salaries. 53 staff of the Ghana Highways offices in Howe were also paid salary advances over 15,000 cedis. 13 out of the 53 are currently on retirement, whilst 3 are deceased, leaving behind outstanding advances of 6,548.27 cedis and 627.44 cedis. The sector minister appeared before the committee to answer some questions.
Because payment is centralized, before you generate records, it takes time. And then by the loss of the time, the controller pays the salary. So one reason why we have an earned salary is the system. What we need to do is what we are doing now. Every month, before salaries are paid, the controller sends us a CD in hard copy. Verify these names. So we go through verification and authentication before payment is done.
Meanwhile, the committee has also instructed the ministry to take the necessary steps for the handing over of a new Nissan Navara vehicle, which an amount of 63,824 has already been paid to Japan Motors since 2012.
Minister, any asset that is used over a longer period cannot be charged to 1 year's accounts. So if you're buying a vehicle whose life will go beyond a particular project, you don't charge the whole cost to one particular project.
I agree with you. I think that
Period.
Coming from the principle of depreciation.
Period.
So if the vehicle will move beyond 5 years.
I've finished. The vehicle will go beyond 5 years. The contract, let me say, maximum 36 months. So beyond the contract, you're going to use that vehicle for other contracts, other projects. So why do you charge it to one particular contract? That is my beef. And I told you that it distorts project costs. Therefore, all other projects will benefit from that pool of your monitoring vehicles. So every single project, big ones, you buy vehicles, you see, and when they finish, all other projects are going to be monitored by these same vehicles. So why do we charge all these number of vehicles to one particular project? And it's a loophole. We have found that. You see, Parliament is not sleeping as others think. We are working to watch what the ministries do. And this is an area we want to advise that we should try to desist from this area.
The Transport Ministry and the DVLA will later appear before the Public Accounts Committee.
The Volta Region House of Chiefs has announced plans for the construction of mini hydro dams in the region to help shore up the country's energy needs. President of the House of Chiefs, Togbe Afede, said the 9 dams to be constructed at various locations in the region will be engineered by energy expert from Italy. He was addressing his colleague chiefs at their first general meeting for 2016.
Togbe Afede the 16th said final preparations are ongoing for the construction of the plants to commence, adding a team of experts from Italy would visit the region to complete feasibility studies on the 9 selected sites. Togbe Afede, who is also the Agbogbomefia of the Anglon State, expressed disappointment in the delay of the development of an experimental 100-acre rice farm, which is a deal between the Volta region and the Ningxia province in China. The delay is as a result of unavailability of lands in the designated areas in and around Apipe.
Locations that were identified for the possible construction of mini hydro power plants. The sites include River Basin 1 and 2, Havansu, Melusu, Ogwe, and Otawes,
He also appealed to the chiefs in the region to be neutral and not engage in party politics, but gave all political parties equal audience as the country heads to the polls in November. He, however, decried renewed chieftaincy clashes at Sovie in the Kwando district and entreated the two factions to dialogue to settle their differences for peace to prevail in the region.
One, of course, is elections. The Standing Committee would like me to remind all of you about this and to remind us that as chiefs, we have to uphold our neutrality in national elections. As chiefs, we should grant access to all political parties who like the basic tests or our abilities. As chiefs, again, we have to be very neutral and facilitate all of these cases by all political parties. So sad for us to hear about the recent eruption of violence in the Soviet dispute that is left one person there. I have spoken with the minister of the region, and I know a lot is being done to ensure peace in the Soviet area.
The House also witnessed the induction of Nana Obombo Sewura Lupurua II, Paramount Chief of Achode Traditional Area in Nkwanta South District, to the House. He took the official oath, the oath of membership and secrecy, administered by Justice Nicholas Charles Agbevo, supervising High Court Judge of Ho. 41-year-old Nana Obombo is an educationist, known in private life as Isaac Kofi Sewura. Speaking to the media after his swearing in, Nana Obombo promised to contribute his quota to the betterment of his area and the region as a whole. Fred Kwame Sari's report.
Government has reached a settlement with over 1,000 School of Hygiene graduates that will see them formally employed. The 1,347 graduates who left the school in 2011 have been agitating for jobs that were once almost guaranteed. The graduates, according to the agreement reached with the Employment and Labour Relations Ministry, will be engaged by the Youth Employment Agency for a year.
The group has been picketing out the premises of the Employment Ministry since October last year over government's failure to post them since 2011. Minister for Employment and Labour Relations Haruna Idrisu at a news conference said that they would be engaged under the auspices of the Youth Employment Agency on a contract which would span a year.
The government have accepted through the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development and the Ministry of Employment to employ all 1,347 graduates from the 3 affected institutions since 2011 to be absorbed under the National Youth Employment Agency as a temporary measure.
Spokesperson for the group, Prince Dramado, in an interview with Joy News said they would want government to speed up the process towards full employment with benefit.
We deem it necessary to go by the terms that will also help in our aspect to deliver our services to Mother Ghana. So we see this platform to be just a starting or maybe a startup to temporarily solve a problem, and then we can move on with the key issue of our postings right after this one, which we believe that per the agreement or the memorandum is stated that all effort has been employed within the 1 year for things to be addressed. We also hope that as that time will elapse, things will be in order, we can be mechanized permanently as staffs to work here.
Minister for Local Government Alhaji Collins Dauda also assured the group that once deployed, they will operate as environmental officers within the local government system.
A Wa Magistrate Court has remanded into police custody a police constable for allegedly assaulting and defiling a 16-year-old pupil at Mangu, a suburb of Wa. According to Deputy Upper West Regional Police Commander ACP Shaibu Gariba, the victim, who is a primary 5 pupil, and a male friend were on their way to attend to nature's call when they encountered the constable. Constable Felix Osei Bonsu was arrested and taken to the Wa Magistrate Court, where he was remanded to reappear on April 12, 2016. Rafik Salam reports from Wa.
Our constable is alleged to have actually assaulted this girl. The girl tried to run away into a school nearby, and then our constable also pursued this girl to her point. And upon reaching there, our constable is said to have actually demanded sex from the girl because he thought that the boy was actually going to have sex with that particular girl. So on this basis, there was actually some watchman in the school and some other people who were also in the nearby bush attending nature's call. They tried to intervene, but it never worked. So at the end of the day, I think it is actually alleged that our constable had sex with actually the female people. So this report came to us. There were witnesses, and this our constable was identified, and we definitely arrested the constable based upon those allegations. We have conducted our investigations, and the investigations actually proved that the girl was indeed assaulted, and then also there was some kind of carnal knowledge. This was actually proven by the medical report form that was given to the boy and sent to the government hospital. We treat it like any individual, any citizen of Ghana who have gone against the law. So that's what we did. We have actually processed this case to court. That was sent yesterday. That was the 11th of April 2016, and our constable has been remanded. So far that's where we are. We are treating it as such, and then we have no cover for anybody. Although it's an allegation, the case is still under investigations, and the court will determine the way forward.
That's the Deputy Upper West Region Police Commander ACP Dr. Shaibu Gareba, and not Rafiq Salam's report. But we're taking a break at this point. When we come back, we'll bring you business news. Right, it's time for business, and Emmanuel is here with the details. Good evening to you.
Good evening, Israel. How are you today?
I'm good. What's coming up in business?
Well, in business, the government has decided to commence negotiations for the new base rate and minimum wage for 2017 because of the fact that we are in an election year and there may be some cost overruns eventually. Right. It doesn't want to be taken by surprise. Okay, so the base pay is going to determine, will have an impact on the minimum wage. Exactly. Right. Sure. Okay. So once that goes up, people can expect a bit more. Well, in Ghana, it trickles through. It should trickle, but whether it becomes that way is what we live to see. All right. You give us the details. All right. So welcome to business. And government has commenced negotiations with organized labor and private employers over the 2017 minimum wage and base pay for workers. This is part of government's quest to avoid any salary-related overruns cited for the high public expenditure. There's more in this report.
The minimum wage serves as a yardstick for paying private sector workers. It is, however, also used in fixing the base pay, which, on the other hand, determines the pay for public sector workers under the single spine pay policy. The daily minimum wage was increased from 7 to 8 cedis, whilst the basic salaries of public sector workers were also increased by 10% in October last year. Speaking to Joy Business, the Minister of Employment and Labour Relations, Haruna Idrisu, said the current economic situation makes the 2017 negotiations, which began today, challenging.
This year's negotiations promises to be tough, as Labour's hand is strengthened with reference to the rate of inflation and the recent utility price upward adjustment and the introduction of the energy sector levy. But for government, we will maintain the President's commitment to fiscal discipline even in an election year, and will make a determination and build consensus on the state of the economy as it is today, and our projections of its trend into 2017 will fundamentally guide a decision by government, mindful of our commitment to maintain fiscal discipline and mindful of our desire and commitment to keep wage and compensation bills as a percentage of GDP and revenue within reasonable and acceptable limits. But I look forward to a healthy negotiations with organized labor and the Ghana Employers Association.
The National Tripartite Committee comprises representatives of government, private employers, organized labor, and government. The decision to be reached at the negotiations will be factored into the 2017 budget as part of efforts to shift focus of the single-spine pay policy to aspects of productivity.
Welcome back to Joy News Prime. The Central Region Police Command is asking political parties in the region to stick to the peace plan they agreed ahead of the November polls. According to the Regional Police Commander, DCOP Akureba Iyage, if all the political parties use internal mechanisms to address their grievances and report errant behaviors to the police for the necessary actions, the election will see no violence. Speaking at the meeting with representatives of the political parties in the Central Region, he urged them to report misconduct of opposition parties to the police administration for swift action and prompt response without fear or favor.
To ensure that we have a voluntary election and that we do more education so that the youth, or what I always term the foot soldiers, understand that they are not there to always rise up and destroy properties instead of adopting party structures to resolve their disagreements or differences or conflict. If there's any conflict in a party, you have to use your party mechanisms. You have, we know that we all agreed here that we have intra-party and inter-party conflict. So when they happen, you are supposed to use your party structures, and even that should be the police should be the last resort. If you are unable to use the structures, then you go to court or you come to the police. So we should all, I believe in education, so we are going to educate the people that we should perform the side of our contract. If we're a political party, if we're a youth, what are you supposed to do? And we outlined all that. So you are supposed to help the party win. You're supposed to pay your dues. You're supposed to ensure that you develop your skills so that you don't go around taking over toilets and the rest. So if you agree that if we have differences, and that's what they all agree, that we'll use party structures to resolve them, then the police work will just be done.
The political parties pledged their support and commitment to the peace process to ensure peaceful elections in November. In the Kumbungu constituency in the northern region over the weekend drove out some executives of the ruling National Democratic Congress from the community, vowing not to let them in again. The residents complained promises made to them in the run-up to the last election have not been fulfilled. The regional executives of the party, including its parliamentary candidate for that constituency, were in the constituency on the party's outreach program when they were confronted by the residents about promises made in 2012 during the construction of roads in Dalung and the establishment of a senior high school in the community. The promises, according to the residents, had not been fulfilled and so questioned the presence of the party executives. They subsequently asked them to leave amidst boos and jeers as they found their way into their vehicles. The residents also vowed not to vote for the party come November 7. A resident, Mohammed Awar Mukhtar, explained to Joy News they were particularly angered by the fact that the NDC executives came only canvass for votes.
It's about what we can do to win Kumbungu seat, how we can help to win the general election as a whole. He also said about they have been directed by the party leadership to come and then just consult, the chiefs and then the party members to vote the party at the general election. None of the party leaders and then the regional executives together with AFOKO, none of them talked about any developmental issue when they came there. Yeah, they only said that we should vote for the party and then the party will win again. So the people are fed up with second vote for us, who can do this. They said, no, we have to come and do something before we vote for you. Because a lot of guys were angry because they said nobody should ask a question that they will find a time and then come back to tell them. I told them that never, on earth that will vote the party, because they said the party belongs to them, not to the people. And then so they should never come to us to tell us to vote for the party again, because I was being appointed by the people in Dalon to represent them.
Right, so we're joined on the line by one of those who was present at that event. He's Ras Mubarak, is the parliamentary candidate for the area. Good evening to you, Mr. Mubarak.
Hello, good evening, Israel, and greetings from Kumbungu constituency about the region.
All right, so what exactly happened?
When?
No, over the weekend. I mean, the tapes we just seen were some NDC executives. Apparently, you went to the constituency to go campaign and the residents drove you out. How accurate is that?
Well, I'm unable to, as you may be aware, I'm listening to you from audio, so I haven't seen.
But what exactly happened over the weekend at Dalong?
We had a very, exciting meeting with the chief, Dalong Lama, and the people of Dalong, which is one of the electoral areas of the Kumbungu constituency. Naturally, Israel, when you have such engagement with the people, it's natural that they would raise concerns, and some concerns were raised, in respect of the road to Dalong from Kumbungu, which we did give them assurances that, the road was something that would be fixed. So I'm quite shocked about, this noise that we went to Dalong and we were chased away and so on and so forth. I'm sure from the video you played, you didn't see the Honorable A.B. Efuseni, you didn't see Chief Soka Zoka, you didn't see myself in that video, and any of the senior or ranking members of the party who were at that meeting. So the authenticity of that video is even in question to begin with.
All right, so who do you know was part of that event that was booed or chased out as we're seeing in the video?
I haven't been able to see the video to independently corroborate the content of the video, and I'm unable to tell you whether the person was a member of our delegation or not. But I can tell you confidently that the delegation wasn't booed or chased away, because I was there throughout the event. And as I have said, Dalong is one of the strongholds of the NDC within the Kumbungu constituency. There's absolutely no doubt. We've always had 75% of votes within Dalong. So...
All right. Mr. Mubarak, there are two things they raised. One of them you mentioned is a road in Dalong. And they also talked about the establishment of a senior high school in the community that was promised them in 2012. Are these promises that were made back in 2012?
As you may be aware, Israel, in 2012, I was candidate of the NDC in Ablek, one of constituency.
So you're not aware of the promise?
So I am unaware of any promises that were made to the people of Dalong. What I do know is that the road from Kumbungu to Dalong indeed is in bad shape, and that we have taking the necessary action to get that road fixed.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Mubarak. But we also have on the line one resident who was there at the time, Awal, and he joins us on the phone. Good evening to you, Awal.
Yeah, good evening.
All right. So now this incident you're talking about, I mean, you were there. Who were the people who were booed out?
Actually, nothing like that happened there.
All right, so what is it do we have on the video?
Actually, I don't think that was Dalong video.
Okay, so you're saying the incident didn't happen at Dalong?
Yes, please.
All right, but have you seen the video in question?
No, please.
You haven't? Okay.
No.
All right.
Anyway, today was a big day for the Black Queens because, as you may know, the Black Maidens have already qualified for an impending World Cup that's coming up, and also we know the Black Princesses have also qualified for the World Cup. Now, those 2 World Cups are in Papua New Guinea, respectively. And today, this afternoon, Ghana hammered Tunisia 4-0 at the Accra Sports Stadium in the second leg of the last qualifiers for the African Women's Cup of Nations. Samira Suleiman opened the scoring in the 26th minute with a fantastic header from a Portia Boachi corner kick. Portia Boachi herself scored the second goal 6 minutes later with a power driver from 25 yards. And then Priscilla Adobia made it 3 with a solo effort on 80 minutes. And then Samira Suleiman, who they call Samira Suarez, scored Ghana's 4th and her personal 2nd on the stroke of full time. So what does this mean? It means the Black Queens have qualified on a 6-1 aggregate for the African Women's Cup of Nations, which will be hosted by Cameroon later this year. Don't forget that they qualified for the last one in Namibia, but they didn't get out of the group stages.
All right, so that'll be all for the bulletin. For more news, you can log on to myjoyonline.com. My name is Israel, and on behalf of the team, I wish you a very good night.